Seven Erickson said that fear is the biggest barrier to success. And today we're going to talk about 9 steps that help you address the fears that you're having right now. I hear so often people say that fear is false education appearing as reality. Well, we're going to talk about how you can face everything and rise. Well, it's the build.
And it's time to build minds with minds like mine.
Welcome to W.I.L.L Wednesdays. It doesn't have anything to do with the day of the week, but it has everything to do with what you think, feel, and speak.
It's the builder.
Now look, when we talk about fear, one of the first things that comes to my mind is heights. I've never been much one for them at all. But I think about a couple years ago and having an opportunity to go to Jamaica and visit the Blue Hole. It was one of the most beautiful, refreshing bodies of water that I have ever experienced. And I remember the guy taking us to the top of this platform and he said, okay, is everybody ready to jump? And I thought in that moment, yeah, I'm a jumper. It was a metaphor for my life and what was going on at that time to say, you know what? I am a jumper, but I'm afraid of heights. But in that moment, the way in which I thought about it seemed to make all of my fears just go away. And like without a second thought, I jumped into the water, and it was some of the most refreshing water that I had ever experienced. And then I remember going down river and feeling so refreshed and so rejuvenated. And he said, who's ready for the high jump? And I remember before anything else could be said, I raised my hands and I was like, me, I am ready to go. I am a jumper. Because in that moment, it spoke to my soul that this was my metaphor for what it was I should do in life when it came to my dreams. So are you a jumper, or are you still standing in your fears? And I can remember going up the side of the cliff and remembering how high up we were, and we were 3 times as high as the first jump. And I remember looking across the river and seeing this guy scale a tree. And I looked up and I was like, oh shit. And then everybody was like, jump. Now I was nowhere near as high as him, but it was about my fear of how high I was. But I'm like, hey, I'm already here. Just like somewhere on your destiny and your journey to your dreams, you've already climbed. So there's nothing else left to do but just jump. And boy, did I feel a sense of freeness, a different level of optimism for how it is I would approach my dreams. So make sure you have pen and paper handy so you could take down these 9 steps to address your fear. Now look, the first thing that you have to do is be able to acknowledge it. Go ahead and accept the fact that it's something that you're afraid of. But there's never ever been a great champion to enter into a ring that didn't have butterflies. Number 2, write it down. The power in being able to write it down is the fact that there is a connection between the hand and the brain. And the hand is the digital recorder for the brain. But when you write it down, you then make that fear external and is no longer leaking in that dark place down inside of you. You've gotten it out. And then number 3, feel the fear. Experience what it will feel like to have that feeling. Go ahead and embrace it. Then number 4, ask yourself, really, what is the worst that can happen if I step out on this limb and truly try to make this happen? Number 5, I think Nike said it best when they came up with the tagline, just do it. You'll never know what's to come if you don't just do it. And then number 6, prepare for the battle. I mean, I can remember being afraid to even do this. I mean, I felt like I could, but I still was a little fearful, a little afraid of how people would respond. But we had to prepare for battle. It took a little studying or a little reading or a little practice or seeking out a mentor and a coach. But we prepared for the battle. Number 7, be in the moment. Stand in the moment. Do you realize oftentimes when we are afraid of something, it's anxiety built up on something that has yet even to happen? Stand in the moment and face your fear. Number 8, take small steps. There's no way ever man or any man could ever climb a mountain if they didn't first put their hand onto a rock. And then number 9, celebrate all of your wins. After you make the first step, and then even when you make the next step, go ahead and start to celebrate, because see, positive feedback craves positive feedback, and you'll continue to look for taking steps 3 and 4 because you know there's a win to be celebrated. Now listen, I understand we all don't know what we don't know, so we continuously look for room to grow. And if I've said it before, I'll say it again. Good decisions, they come from wisdom. And wisdom, it comes from experience. But experience, it comes from making bad decisions. But it is all about wisdom. And Bertrand Russell wrote the words that, to conquer fear is the true beginning of wisdom. And if you will, I will, we will. Let's build.